Fuentes is about to talk about how badly Republicans are going to lose in the midterms. It's pretty entertaining, actually.
So our big story, our only news story really in the past week, is that there is now a partial government shutdown. The Department of Homeland Security shut down on Friday after funding lapsed. And this is because the Democrats are refusing to appropriate any money for Homeland Security unless the White House agrees to restrict ICE.
Yes, restrict, like they have to wear face masks. That's basic. I don't understand. I'm sorry, they can't wear face masks. I don't understand how anybody could be opposed to just like making law enforcement identifiable. How could anyone be opposed to that?
And this is a story, we'll read through it. This is from Politico, and then we'll get into a little bit of the backstory, how we got here. And the kicker is that this is just a preview. This is just the sampler. But this is the story from Politico talking a little bit about some of the details here. It says, quote, lawmakers left Washington for a week-long recess on Thursday, showing no urgency to avert a shutdown at the Department of Homeland Security that will take effect on Saturday morning. This was written on Friday. Neither Republicans nor Democrats saw an obvious path forward to resolving their differences over President Trump's immigration crackdown and whether to rein it in as part of legislation to fund DHS. Though negotiations between the White House and Senate Democrats continue, the trajectory of talks suggests DHS funding will be lapsed for at least 10 days, meaning that the soonest that any resolution would be reached is around the State of the Union address on February 24th. The lack of progress has even raised the prospect that Trump's speech to Congress might be postponed, and some Democrats are mulling a boycott. Even if a deal were struck, said one of these senators, I'm not entirely convinced that anybody would vote for it. I can't see the Democrats voting for anything because they're not going to get pounded for funding ICE, and the Republicans on my side are not going to get pounded for hurting ICE. Negotiations between Democrats and White House officials were ongoing as of Thursday evening. Democrats, who have floated a series of guardrails on immigration enforcement in exchange for funding DHS, were expected to formally respond to the latest White House offer over the weekend after Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries bashed it on Thursday without disclosing specifics on what was contained within. It will likely take weeks for the public to feel any pain from a lapse in DHS funding, meaning that each side will feel limited political pressure to give in right away. TSA screeners are not set to miss paychecks until March.
Oh, the TSA is included in this too. That's actually not good.
And FEMA coffers are likely full enough to respond to natural disasters for the near future. After the Senate failed to pass DHS funding legislation on Thursday, lawmakers in both chambers left Washington with guidance to be ready to come back in a matter of days if Democrats in the White House were able to strike a deal, something that members did not see as a realistic possibility before the end of the week. Okay, so here's a little backstory on all this. Obviously, as you know, back in January, these mass deportations basically hit the iceberg, and it's now over. Trump...
Yeah. No, it's not. That's complete delusion. There are still mass deportations happening right now.
Trump sent ICE and Border Patrol to Minneapolis, where mass deportations have now died. In response to the investigation of Somalian fraud in Minneapolis, thousands of ICE and Border Patrol were deployed to investigate this, but also...
Like, why would they be deployed to investigate this? I don't understand. And thousands? It feels like investigators should be like, you know, not in masks and full military gear, but just like a suit and tie going around and talking to people involved, like material witnesses and stuff. No, these people were deployed to harass others. That's it. It was about harassment.
So to increase the amount of removals happening there, they encountered pitched resistance from local radical left-wing groups, socialists, communists, progressives, brown people of various stripes, and this led to the death of two protesters. First Renee Good, then Alex Preddy. Now, we talked a little bit in January and in February about some of the fallout in the media and in the White House. The media, as predicted, have taken all of it and they have aired it wall to wall, 24/7 coverage.
Good. They should. Alex Preddy's death and Renee Good's death. Yes, absolutely. It's unacceptable, obviously.
About the family separation, about the brutality of ICE tactics, about how it's anti-democratic. They're playing up the deaths of the protesters, and they're pressuring the administration to shut down these efforts. We talked about how the administration has responded to the pressure with a total capitulation.
It wasn't a total capitulation, but they did move out of Minnesota, I believe.
We discussed last week, ICE has officially concluded their Midway Blitz operation, or whatever it was called. Their surge of ICE and Border Patrol has officially concluded as of last week. They withdrew the remaining 3,000 ICE and Border Patrol agents, and effectively now mass deportations are over.
Nonsense.
But this is the angle that we didn't talk about. And it's very important to understand the different organs of the elites and how they all work and how they all work together and the dynamics. It's really important to understand the anatomy of power and the anatomy of how things work. So like I said, we know the role that the left-wing activists connected to the Democrat machines will play. If you try to enforce immigration law, they will react viciously. So the Democrat city...
That's a lie. People can enact immigration law and nobody has a problem with it. Mass deportations, harassing the city, harassing people, sending people in masks. I mean, that's not okay. That's what people are going to have a problem with, obviously. Just a reminder, I would really appreciate it if you guys checked out my Patreon. If you're not going to donate, you don't have to, but follow me there at the very least. owenmorgan.com/Patreon. Just in case something happens with the government or whatever. It would be really good if you had some way to connect with me and my content. I'm really concerned about that. And maybe you should consider that for other creators too.
Machines, Jacob Fry, Tim Walz, Minneapolis mayor, Minnesota governor, they are going to embolden the agitators. They are going to put out the word that they want resistance. And the local left-wing groups answer the call. Unions, student groups, shitheads, agitators, they all show up in
student groups and unions in the same category as shitheads. Okay, go on.
Droves at the public protests on the weekends, but also at the riots at night. And they're in the Signal group chats.
Is that Mod and Aegis? I'm not sure what you mean. You mean the 3DS? Is that what you're talking about? This is an actual real 3DS that I'm using to play Link Between Worlds, which is, in my opinion, a really great game. It's just it's a mod. It's a 3DS capture card mod.
Coordinating the interference play against actual ICE enforcement. So that's the role that the big city machine plays, the local shock troops, the agitators. Then you've got the media and Hollywood.
Like, literal just protesters are considered agitators in your mind? They can't, like, be unhappy with what's happening. They have to be, like, bad faith agitators? Really?
But they play their part. They shine a light on all this. They show half of the story. They frame it in such a way where it looks like Alex Preddy is some veteran nurse.
He is, or was, yes. What are you smoking? What are you talking about that's dishonestly framed?
And they literally, AI looks-match the photo so that he looks like a Chad. And they show Renee.
Nobody did that.
Good, like she's some kind of humanitarian. She's a poet. She just wanted to write her poems for her lesbian wife and her son.
Is that not what she wanted to do? I don't understand. What are you talking about? And by the way, the picture that looked really nice, that was his death photo. His, what do you call it? Like his funeral picture, okay? What do you want them to do? Use a garbage picture for his fucking funeral that shouldn't be happening right now?
And then at the Oscars and at the Grammys, I guess it's the Grammys, you get the speeches from Billie Eilish and from Bad Bunny. Hey, ICE and all this kind of stuff.
Yes, ICE, really.
They put the spotlight on it. And what does this do? Well, it puts the pressure on the Republican conference, the RNC, RNC has to win this midterm election.
They're f***ed. They are completely and totally f***ed. They're not winning jack shit. Mark my words.
They need to shore up all 218 Republican seats. They need money. Who are they going to get money from? The Chamber of Commerce. Chamber of Commerce is getting pressure from the shitheads because they're protesting at Target in front of the Marriott, the Hilton. Okay, so this is the anatomy of how it works. These are the dynamics. Now, here's the angle that we haven't talked about, and this is the role that Congress plays. This is the role that the legislative branch plays. So, as I said, we talk about how this is playing out. But there's another effect of the killing of Alex Preddy and Renee Good that we have not yet discussed. And this is that after both of them were killed, and it created this big public backlash and outcry, in the middle of the story, Republicans and Democrats were negotiating on a spending bill. So Republicans and Democrats are doing their normal business as legislators, passing appropriations to fund the government, approving new money for the government's operations. And they were on track to pass this minibus spending bill, $1.7 trillion spending bill. It funds a half dozen departments and agencies, routine business. And they had a bill that they agreed upon.
Yeah, except this specific bill that he's referring to, I believe, funds ICE, or not ICE, Department of Homeland Security, who is out there harassing people. So,
and it was going to pass. Republicans and Democrats were going to pass it in the House and in the Senate, and it was going to be, again, just routine business as usual.
But this isn't a business as usual routine organization or thing that they're working on. I just created a new website, firesidewatch.com. You can watch videos with friends, and everybody can play or pause the video. I made it so I could collaborate with other YouTubers, but I figured I might as well make it available to everybody. On top of that, you can add videos to the queue, upvote them, and sort by most upvoted. Give it a look, firesidewatch.com. And while you're at it, check out my Patreon, owenmorgan.com/Patreon. You can follow me there for free.
Well, after the killing of Alex Preddy and Renee Good, and all this attention and all the backlash, how does this affect the legislation? Well, one of the departments that is funded by the bill is Homeland Security. And for those that don't know, ICE and Border Patrol are agencies that are subsidiary to Homeland Security. So what is happening here? Well, in a word, Democrats have gained political capital. They've gained political capital. Because the Trump administration has become deeply unpopular, because there is this moment, Democrats are having a moment where there is public backlash against ICE. There is negative attention on ICE. It's hurting Trump's job approval. It's hurting his immigration approval numbers. This gives the Democrats initiative. It gives them political capital to draw upon. And so they can now go to Republicans at the negotiating table and say, hey, although we agreed on this funding bill, now we're reneging on our commitment because we don't want to fund Homeland Security. We're not going to fund Homeland Security unless you give us something in return. And what are they asking for? Democrats are asking for 10 points to restrain ICE. This is in response.
That's completely reasonable. That's the political system. That's how it works.
To the Democrats' voters and the most militant and energetic and radical members of the Democrat group, the Democrats are going to the Republicans and saying, we're not going to fund Homeland Security unless ICE takes off their masks. And what does that do? If ICE can't wear a mask, then that means they're going to get doxxed.
Oh, give it a fucking rest. You can't, in my opinion, dox a federal worker by just having their name out there. They work for the people. They have a responsibility to tell us who they are so that we can hold them accountable for things that they do in the people's name. If you don't want to be doxxed, then don't do bad shit. No one is out here doxing random normal ICE members. They are, if you can even describe it this way, doxing the ones that literally fucking murdered people.
If they're going to get doxxed, then their families are going to get threatened. And if their families are going to get threatened, then they're going to quit.
Then don't murder people. See how easy that is? I've never done it. How is it that you can't help yourself but to want to murder people? I don't understand.
or they're not going to be able to participate in patrols, in raids. They're not going to be able to do their job. It's designed with this in mind.
Don't harass people and it won't be a problem.
Number two, they all got to wear body cameras. What happens when you put a body camera on an ICE agent?
You can identify the evil shit that they've done.
They can't do the patrols because anything that they might say or do that could look bad, they know their head is going to be on a pike.
That's right. Yes. It's called accountability. You are calling for ICE to not have any accountability. Really? Seriously, think about this for a second. What if ICE was controlled by Democrats and they were going around harassing MAGA? Would you have the same position? The answer is no, of course not. He would not have the same position because there is no principle in this guy. He doesn't know the word principle. He's more than happy to fuck people over if it means, and not give a shit about having any principles if it means he can hurt the people that he wants to hurt.
In the court of public opinion, if they go up to somebody who is obviously illegal or they know they're illegal and they initiate some kind of, I don't know what you would call that technically speaking, but they try to apprehend somebody. If they say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, oh, it's going to be on TV.
Good. But it would be really easy to disprove if it wasn't legitimate or fair. It takes literal seconds to send the footage to who needs to have the footage or to post it on social media or whatever. If it turns out that you were genuinely just doing your fucking job, then what's the big deal? What are you afraid of?
I'm going to be the next Derek Chauvin. I'm going to be the guy that shot Alex Preddy.
Okay, well, if that's what you did, then, you deserve public backlash.
So they're going to not do their job. It's designed with this in mind. One of the other points, they want a judge to have to give a warrant for ICE to make an arrest.
That's not true. ICE right now is going into people's homes without warrants. They have immigration warrants, which are not judicial warrants. I'm sorry, but you need to follow the process if you want to be law enforcement in the United States. That's just what it is. How can he possibly argue against this? This is wild.
So go figure. We have 30, 40 million illegal aliens living in the country. You already got to detain them. You got to go out there and get them, arrest them, lock them up. Then you got to put them in a warehouse. You got to detain them in a facility for an indefinite amount of time. Then you got to go to court. They got to have their day in court. We got to adjudicate, give them an order of removal. Then we got to kick them out. It's this whole ordeal.
Yes, that's due process. That's what the country was built on, obviously.
Now everybody needs a warrant. Now we got to get 30 million warrants. It's going to slow it down. Again, you're not going to be able to do patrols.
Like right now, there are mistakes. We want zero mistakes, ideally. I understand we can't get to zero realistically, but we should try to reach zero mistakes, right? And this is how you prevent mistakes. By making sure everybody has a warrant, making sure everybody is, gets their due process and is checked out and everything else. This dude doesn't want this because he doesn't give a fuck about mistakes.
So what are the Democrats doing? They're shutting down mass deportations with process under the pretext.
Sorry, they should have been doing due process all along. I don't give a fuck what complaints you have here. People should have had due process since day one.
Of accountability and transparency. They're against brutality and all that sort of stuff, which sounds good on paper. What they're really doing is denying. What they're really doing is they're tying the hands of law enforcement and ICE so that it becomes impossible to do their job. And then they cannot deport the illegals can stay, and they're effectively given an amnesty. And that's the point.
That's nonsense. You can deport people. You just have to do it the right way without separating people from their families and without just the ugliness that comes with what the Trump administration is doing right now, literally murdering people. You can do it without all of that shit, without violating people's due process rights, without violating the Constitution. That's all we're calling for. Following the Constitution. That's it. You're such a victim, dude. Oh my God.
That's what they're doing. That's why they're doing it. And so this is how all of this works. Trump goes into Minneapolis to catch the fraud. Well, the Democrats respond like antibodies in the bloodstream. They respond like white blood cells. And so the shitheads come out and the Democrat machine condemns it. And they say ICE needs to leave. Hollywood trains the camera on it like a loaded gun. The media, Hollywood, on social media, all the attention goes behind this. They get the Republicans nervous. They put the pressure on the donors, on the businesses. If that's not enough, then in Congress, the Democrats come forward and say, well, now we're not going to agree to fund Homeland Security unless you shut down ICE.
No one is asking for ICE to be shut down, unfortunately. I wish they were. But right now, they're trying to get basic shit pushed through. No masks, they need warrants, so on and so forth. How could anybody disagree with this super basic shit? I don't understand.
Now, here's the thing about this shutdown. So Democrats are making this demand, and you might be saying to yourself, well, how can they make any demands? They're in the minority. And it's shocking, isn't it? Democrats are in the minority in the House, and they are a minority in the Senate. So how can they shut down the government? How do they have any leverage? How can they make demands? Well, for those that don't know, this is basic stuff, but I'll just inform you. In the Senate, basically every major piece of legislation, every confirmation of a presidential nominee has to clear a 60-vote threshold, a supermajority, a 3/5 threshold, as opposed to a simple majority. 100 seats in the Senate, simple majority is 51, or 50 plus the tiebreaker, which is Vance. Vice president is the president of the Senate and acts as a tiebreaker in the event of a tie. But to pass major legislation, you need 3/5, you need 60. It's a procedural thing.
Yeah, and, well, it's the filibuster is what this is. And the filibuster used to, the rule used to be you needed 50, but the other side could talk indefinitely if they wanted. You needed a 3/5 group to override the filibuster where people can talk. But if you want to put this bill off indefinitely, you actually have to stand up there and talk for hours at a time. Ted Cruz actually read Green Eggs and Ham once up there just so that he had something to say. And Mitch McConnell got rid of the filibuster rule, thus eroding democracy a little bit more. Because you can modify the Senate rules with a simple majority, 50 or 51 or whatever. But you needed 60 to pass a bill without the filibuster. So Mitch McConnell, by doing that, that was just a few years ago. By doing so, he eroded democracy that much more. We are in this situation currently because of Mitch McConnell, at least in part. I'm really upset by these Republicans. Don't sweat it. We have incredible political capital right now, like unmatched. And these people are going to spend the rest of their life in federal prison. I promise. Watch and see what happens next.
If you don't have 60 votes, theoretically somebody could filibuster and they could indefinitely extend debate on every motion, on every matter, and it requires 60 votes to close debate, to invoke cloture and go to voting. And this is really arbitrary. This is not in the Constitution.
This is not arbitrary. It was picked to be like this for a specific reason, but okay, whatever.
It's not written in stone. This is parliamentary procedure. And it is effectively there to hamstring the government. It is there to slow down government and prevent the Senate from doing anything. Now, you might...
No, it's there not to cause gridlock. In fact, it wasn't like this until Mitch McConnell, really. It's there to make sure that, well, really, it's there to protect the minority. It just so happens that right now the minority is billionaires who are pulling the strings. So, yeah, that's not ideal.
You might have heard the phrase nuclear option.
I just described that, of course. The nuclear option is getting rid of the filibuster completely.
This is the idea that the ruling party will eliminate the filibuster and they will vote to say that we're not going to abide by this anymore. We're just going to pass legislation with this simple majority. We control the Senate. We're going to pass a legislation. You don't get to shut down the whole government when you don't even have the majority because you have a handful of votes. This is where we are. Now, the reason this matters is so that you understand this particular government shutdown may not do anything. The Democrats shut down the government in the fall for 45 days, longest government shutdown in history. In the end, they didn't even get anything. They said they wanted these Obamacare tax credits. They didn't even get them.
Oh, that's because that's because, what's his name? Oh my God. What the fuck's it? Chuck Schumer. My God. Why couldn't I come up with that name? That's because Chuck Schumer caved. However, Trump was holding a gun to people's head. I get why Chuck Schumer caved. If he hadn't, we would be in a much worse position right now than we are. So people like the Majority Report attacked Schumer over the decision that he made, but I understand why he made that decision. And I don't think I have a huge problem with what he did, because we would be in much worse shape if he hadn't, I think.
They came up with a number of other demands. They didn't get anything. They shut down the government in the fall.
I hope the Epstein files get these people in trouble. I have friends that are immigrants. I really don't want to lose my friends, and I'm scared. I don't know about the Epstein files getting these people in trouble, but these people are fucked. I'm telling you. Just wait and see what happens. Within the next 3 years, in my opinion, every one of these people are going to be in federal prison. I believe Elon Musk is going to prison, or Argentina, one or the other. They're going to have to flee the country to survive, I believe. After what they've done, this was like, they crossed like 16 lines. There's no coming back from what they've done. None.
Just so that they could tell their Democrat voters that they resisted Trump. Just so that they could say, well, we didn't go with Trump. We put up a fight. It's kayfabe. It's fake. They're doing it just to do it. On some level, they're slowing down the administration. It's having some impact, but really it's more for them to go to their base and say that they did something. And that's exactly what this is too. They're going to the White House and they're telling them, we're not going to fund Homeland Security until you shut down ICE. It's not going to happen. The White House is not going to agree to shut down ICE. They're not.
Okay, again, no one is trying to shut down ICE. Unfortunately, I wish they were. They are simply trying to get them to take the masks off.
Not going to agree to a lot of these things. They might agree to some of it. And there are some reports that the White House has agreed to body cams. They've agreed to rules of engagement. There's some compromise, which is not good. But the government will reopen. They're not going to totally shut down ICE. Why does all of this matter? It is to get you to understand where all of this is going. Where does all of this point towards? All of this points towards the inevitable conclusion that when we arrive at the midterms in 9 short months, okay, that came up real fast, didn't it? One day, you're celebrating the golden age. You know, you're Elon Musk, Roman saluting. This victory really mattered. My heart goes out to you. The next day, it's 9 months until the midterms. Republicans will lose the midterms.
Yes, they are going to lose egregiously. This is what I was talking about.
What does that mean? They will lose the House. Democrats will have a majority in the House. What does that look like? Well, Democrats most likely will win the House in November.
They might even, they will almost guaranteed win the Senate. They might even get a simple 3/5 majority, which is enough to pass bills. I don't know. I'm not sure. That's a pretty tall order. I don't know if you guys have looked at this, but here, check this out. Let me show you. 270towin.com. This is a map of the United States, and you can click on each of these to change their colors or whatever. And you can look at governor races, the 2026 interactive governor map. This is likely who will win. The pink is a close race. The brown it's a complete toss-up. The red is almost guaranteed Republican. The blue is almost guaranteed Democrat. But take a look at the House, the 2026 interactive House race. It looks close right now. I believe we're going to completely sweep the board. I believe we're going to take fucking everything. Look at the Senate map. Only 1/3 of senators, I believe, are re-elected every 2 years, and they serve 6-year terms. So every 6 years, all senators face an election at one point or another. You can look at different maps. Cook Political Report is pretty good. We're looking at a consensus map right now. I believe that everywhere brown is guaranteed to go Democrat, so I'm going to mark those Democrat. And I think the things that are pink are going to go Democrat as well. And even maybe some solidly red stuff. Like, I'm thinking we might get some wins in, God, this is a red firewall. These are really tough to win, some of these. South Carolina, maybe. We would have to take some pretty unusual states, but we've seen some unusual elections lately. So I don't know, maybe we take Tennessee. West Virginia has had Democratic governor and Democratic senators recently, even. Joe Manchin is a Democrat, and he's from West Virginia, so that's conceivable. Minnesota is definitely blue. Absolutely no question about that. New Hampshire, almost certainly blue. Let's see. So we're at 57 if we take West Virginia and Tennessee. If we just took 3 more seats, Alaska, South Dakota, Kansas, we would have a we would have a 3/5 majority. I don't think there's a realistic way to get to 66. That would be enough for impeachment. We would have to sweep everything, pretty much. But, you know, I'm not counting anything out right now based on what's happening. We've never been in this situation politically before, ever.
Republicans still have until January. In January 2027, the Democrat majority will be seated. Now, what powers do they gain? Well, they don't just have a majority in one chamber. Some things you need to understand about the House. Constitutionally, the House has the power of the purse strings, which means that all spending bills, all revenue bills have to originate in the House.
Which is something that Donald Trump completely ignored when he shut down U.S. aid. He did not have the right to do that. U.S. aid is controlled by Congress, not by the executive branch. The executive branch legally must distribute or disperse the funds that Congress appropriates, and they completely ignored that. And Nick Fuentes knows that.
So Democrats control all appropriations. See where this is going? You want to fund the government in 2027? You got to deal with Hakeem Jeffries.
I don't think Hakeem Jeffries is going to be the leader for long.
You want to fund your government? You want to fund your anything? Your Department of War? You want to fund your literally anything? You don't want to be in a permanent shutdown? You got to go through the Democrats. And the Democrats are going to have some demands about ICE, about tariffs, about everything. That's 1. 2, Democrats have oversight powers. They have investigative powers. They can subpoena. They can depose. They can compel the release of documents. They can impeach. This is a preview of what the rest of the presidency will look like in 2027, in 2028, when you have a Democrat-controlled House. These like symbolic government shutdowns, these become real impasses. These become real hostage situations where you're not going to be able to pass anything. Forget about passing landmark legislation. Forget about major legislation. You can't even fund your government. You can't even keep the government going.
Without Democrats, right.
Try doing the largest deportation operation in history when everybody is being impeached and everybody has to talk to lawyers and talk about documents and deal with subpoenas. Just try the time and energy to do all that. Try to implement mass deportations when the Democrats are depriving your government of money. How are you going to do mass deportations without any money? How are you going to do mass deportations if we're going to deny you appropriations for some other thing?
It's not happening. They are all f***ed. Mark my words.
Like the Department of War or like the Development Finance Corporation or some other thing. Your nomination of the Federal Reserve Chairman, which will probably be resolved before then, but these are the kinds of things that become relevant. This is the predicament that we find ourselves in.
If you had just acted like a normal fucking human being and not an extremist, if you had done 30% of what you wanted to do instead of literally murdering people in the streets, you wouldn't be in this predicament. And Donald Trump's reputation would be through the fucking roof, and he'd be praised like Reagan until the end of time. But he is the most hated human being on planet Earth, maybe, at this moment. He's very, very disliked. And you're going to be afraid to tell people that you were a Trump supporter before long. Just wait and see.
And this is what I told you would happen in 2024. How did we arrive here? I will tell you very clearly how we got to this point. We should have been vigilant. I was. You should have been vigilant in 2024. Whether Trump and his team showed signs that they had the political will to do the job, because that is really what is required. It was a given that Trump was going to get into office and that he had to move very quickly and very decisively. That was the only way this was ever going to work, if it was going to work. What I mean by this is all of these aspirations, if you wanted to cut $2 trillion, if you wanted DOGE, if you wanted a unified executive, a unitary executive, if you wanted the tariff man, if you wanted mass deportations, if any of that was ever going to happen in this second term, the only way it would have happened is if you moved very quickly, very decisively from the very beginning, because you were only ever going to have about 18 months at the most. You were only ever going to have 18 months before all these policies, which are extremely disruptive, would have provoked a response from the left.
Exactly. Extremely disruptive. They are not conducive to stability. They don't encourage stability. They don't want stability. They want people to suffer that they fucking hate. They want to make anybody to the left of hunting immigrants for sport miserable. They want to make their lives miserable in any way they possibly can. Now, if that's the position you're starting from, yeah, you're fucked after 18 months. You are in bad fucking shape. You are not going to make it into another term. You are not going to have a good time. And that is exactly what they did. They went all in and ruined people's lives and literally ended lives, killed people like Alex Preddy, for example, and Renee Good. And now you're paying for the consequences of your actions. Welcome to reality. That's how it works.
In the form of media pressure, resistance from the state and local governments, federal judge injunctions, media pressure, and ultimately, the ultimate bound is the midterms. You can be unpopular, you can be brutal, you can be decisive, you can go all the way, but you got to do it quickly and you got to do it fast, because you only have 18 months before the enemy catches up. They launch a counterattack, you lose the midterms, and then they do this to you. And whether we did it successfully or unsuccessfully, this is how it was going to play out. What I mean by that is, so far, Trump has been incompetent. We have not gotten mass deportations. The tariffs.
No, he's been very competent at robbing the people blind. He's very good at stealing all of our money and being corrupt and pardoning people who pay him to pardon them and things like that. He's very good at that. And he's very good at being disruptive and causing problems for people. But he is incompetent. And you know, the Nazi government in World War II was also very incompetent. But that worked to their favor in some ways.
Have been a pittance, and they're going to be overturned. We haven't solved any of the wars. We haven't fired 50,000 government employees. They failed. DOGE didn't cut any waste, fraud, or abuse. They objectively failed through incompetence, and they're still unpopular. They're still unpopular. They're still cruising to be destroyed in the midterms and deprived of any power anyway. So think about it. The alternative is that we didn't care what the fuck they thought about us. You could have been deporting 5,000 people per day. You could have been implementing martial law. You could have suspended habeas corpus, martial law, Insurrection Act, arrest the governors and the mayors. You could have arrested Hollywood.
I thought for sure that's what was going to happen after Charlie Kirk died. I was so convinced we were going to see like full pogroms and everything. But to my surprise, we didn't see that. That tells me that Trump didn't know the gift that he was given by Charlie Kirk dying. It could have been really, really bad, but it wasn't, surprisingly.
Obama, you could have literally dropped an iron fist on this country like a straight up scary dictatorship. Tariffs, arrests, deportations, you could have done it all. And the result
could have been, he could have built a concentration camp, which he's doing, with incinerators and mass murdered people. He could have done that. And like I said, he's trying, but he kind of lost his opportunity. As Nick Fuentes is aptly pointing out here, people are radicalized against the Trump administration now. There is no way this ends well for any of them.
have been exactly the same. The worst case scenario is that the media would hate it. The left would be violent and rioting. The Republicans would be unpopular.
Like, the left isn't rioting. They love to make this claim. They've been claiming this since Martin Luther King Jr. days. Check this out. There's a famous comic from Martin Luther King Jr. Here it is, right here. We just pull this thing up. Ugh, God, I didn't want to heart it. I wanted to zoom in. Here you go. I plan to lead another nonviolent march tomorrow, Martin Luther King Jr. says, standing by a reporter in front of just a complete mess of people dead and cars destroyed, buildings burned down. Martin Luther King Jr. is renowned for being peaceful, and they still made this shit up about him. They will claim violence no matter what, even when there is none. I've seen little to no violence from Democrats in these protests and things like that. Almost zero. But, these people have no scruples. They will lie about anything, and that's all there is to it.
Lose Joe Rogan, and then you'd lose the midterms, and they'd reverse it. It's gonna happen anyway. You see? But here is how you knew it would play out this way. The Republicans never had the political will. And by that, I mean they were afraid of the media from the jump. They weren't willing to go all the way from the jump. They had no control over Republicans in Congress. They were afraid of them. They were asking permission. They moved too slowly. They were incompetent. They used the wrong laws. I mean, think about some of the stuff they did with DOGE. Such a ham-fisted disaster that was. You could have went in and cut everything and fired everybody as long as you did it quickly and decisively and legally.
And legally, really? Elon Musk actually went in with armed men and forced people to leave a private organization, fired them. Like an organization that was created by Congress and exists independently of the government. He went in with guns and forced people to leave. What are you talking about? Do it legally or whatever. At no point was any of this done legally.
Stuck to your guns, you could have done it. You could have eviscerated everything. You could have done tariffs. But look at the shoddy job they did on Liberation Day last year. They threw together this tariff schedule. We saw how they calculated them. It was ridiculous. And they got overturned in 2 weeks because it was such a sloppy job. We knew from the jump that this is how it was going to go. So I told you in 2024, I told you in 2025. I said, we don't have 4 years. You got 2 if you're lucky. You got less than 2. You have 12 months, maybe 18 months at the most. I said you got that first year, year and a half, 2 years before the midterms to get everything you want. That's your runway. You got to hit the ground running. And if you can get some momentum, if you have the initiative, then maybe by the midterms, you're cooking with gas. Maybe you've achieved something. Maybe you've done something irreversible. But if you don't get it going by then, it gets worse and not better. And it gets worse and not better because after the midterms, the Democrats have reconstituted. They are fortified and consolidated, and they're going to put up meaningful resistance. And they do it by delaying and denying.
Yep, you are f***ed. I'm glad these people are coming to realize this now. Every last one of you is f***ed. You are all going to federal f*** you in the prison.
They don't have to win the argument. They don't have to win the debate. You are on offense. They are on defense. The left is hegemonic. They control the permanent bureaucracy. They control the media.
What? That's just complete nonsense. I'm sorry. Like, the left controls the media. The right controls the media. Certainly right now. CBS has been captured by the far right, believe it or not. And so Fox News has been far right all along. Newsmax, OAN, what the fuck are you talking about? Left-wing media almost doesn't exist at all. Certainly mainstream left-wing media does not exist. MS Now exists. That's about the extent of it.
Hollywood. They still ostensibly control like everything. We are on offense. We have to score. We have to be scoring all the time. If we don't, we are losing. If we don't, we are always losing ground if we're not advancing. And that's exactly what happened here. If the Democrats can simply buy time by slowing things down procedurally or otherwise, if they could just slow things down, postpone things, if they could get you to backpedal, dilute the message, weaken, that is how they win, just by denial. And in 2 years, this is going to be the most unpopular administration in history.
Absolutely. Beyond a shadow of a doubt.
It's going to be a repeat of 2020. That's what we're looking at here. Think about where Trump is. Lowest approval rating of any modern president. Trump's approval is lower at this point in his presidency, lower than Biden at this point, lower than Trump won at this point. Lowest that it's been in the second term. I guess that goes without saying. He's completely underwater with the under 40 crowd, and it's only gonna get worse, especially because Trump is not delivering on these things.
What horrifies me the most is that Donald Trump is as popular as he is. Yeah, he has something like, 33% or something, the lowest out of anybody ever. That is still 33% of the fucking country that is not repulsed by what he is doing and by him personally. 33%.
No mass deportations, economy's not getting better, housing prices have literally never been more unaffordable, the wars are escalating actually as opposed to getting better, and now we seriously have...
Yeah, it's actually an update right now if you haven't been watching, but it looks like Iran, where it looks like the United States is going to be invading Iran soon, in the next few days or weeks.
Have to contend with the possibility that in 2028, we get Democrats on steroids. We get Democrats with a vengeance. You do understand that if a Democrat won in 2024, they would be on the back foot. If a Democrat won in 24 and they...
That's true, they would. They'd be on the back foot.
Picked up where Biden left off, they would be really in a tough spot.
Yep, I completely agree. We were going to have to face this down eventually, no matter what. Like, there are Trump extremists that are completely out of control, and we have like no way to rein them in to kind of bring them back to reality. But now that they have gone off the rails and gone entirely too far, every last one of them is f***ed. And there isn't a single person here who has sympathy for MAGA anymore, ever again.
They would not be aggressive. They could not be aggressive because they would have no mandate and no legitimacy and nobody would support them. So you would have gotten a very soft, weak, flaccid, incompetent Democrat administration, and you would have had like a revolution in 28 for a fascist, for a Nazi. Instead...
Which he views as good, of course, because he thinks that Nazis are good because he is a Nazi, right?
Trump has been elected and he has failed at everything except for antagonizing our enemies. The only thing that he has succeeded at doing is provoking our enemies just enough that now they want to kill us. And now they're going to have enough juice to do it. They're going to have enough political mandate to do it, political capital. Trump has not succeeded in DOGE, has not Schedule F'd 50,000 employees, has not...
That's because Trump never really set out to accomplish any of this. He didn't want to accomplish anything. Cruelty was the point all along. Like sending people to Libyan prisons instead of deporting them to their home country or to El Salvador or whatever. The point is to hurt people and to antagonize the left, not to actually get anything done.
Ended all the wars. Has not massively deported anybody. He doesn't even want to build the wall anymore. They haven't started building the wall. They don't even want to build the wall anymore. That stuff just isn't even happening. The one thing he succeeded in doing is royally pissing off our enemies that actually are willing to and know how to use government power.
Yep. I'm glad that he's kind of finally recognizing that. They are f***ed, every last one of them. From the top of the chain to the bottom, they are all f***ed. Good luck in 2026, or 27, I guess, and 2028. Good luck.
By going after James Comey and going after all these people and destroying the East Wing, pissing on their face and shitting down their throats and humiliating them, all he has done is guaranteed that the pendulum is going to swing so hard back to the left, it's going to kill all of us.
I hope you had a good time, Donald Trump and Nick Fuentes, while you were in office. But yes, he is correct. They are
even the people that didn't vote for him, even the people that don't support him.
No one's going to die. They're going to go to federal you in the prison for the rest of their lives. I don't intend to kill anybody. I don't want anybody dead, but you're all
because whatever Mamdani socialist is going to be propelled into the White House in 2028, they're going to be anti-white. They're going to be communist. Okay, they're not going to be based noticers.
Like nobody is going to be communist. There are almost no communists in the United States. And the ones that are here have no political power anyway, and probably never will. We're just not in that environment in the United States. But this is the exact same playbook that the Nazis used, which is probably why Nick Fuentes and others are using it now. Because, communist is a very easily definable group that you can hate.
It's going to be bad. Okay, it's going to be bad in 28. It's going to be bad in 26.
Yep.
I told you this would happen. So, like I said, this is a preview. DHS is partially shut down, or rather, the government's partially shut down. DHS is shut down. Democrats are now using the 47 seats they have in the Senate to make us cuck ICE, which it's like, why not at this point? We already told them they can't deport anybody. How long did that take?
Wait, who the said ICE can't deport anybody?
February 2026, and here lies the dreams and ambitions of the second Trump administration. I thought we were supposed to be in the Creed concert by now. Where's my fucking Creed concert? Where's my Code Red Mountain Dew? Where are my charter cities? Remember when they said that? We're going to build freedom cities. We're going to take federal land and build new cities on the blockchain. Remember that? Remember when Trump was releasing new policies every day? By 2026, everyone's going to be drinking raw milk and we'll have state-funded goth girlfriends and there's going to be freedom cities with no blacks allowed and the wall will be 30. Yeah.
He's like happy about that. Like, what the is wrong with this dude? Seriously. State-funded goth girlfriends? I mean, he's talking about human trafficking, right? And no blacks allowed in this city. What the is wrong with these people, dude? They are broken inside. And yes, you're right, Nick. You are You are all 6 ways from Sunday when the time comes, when, you lose these upcoming elections. You are all completely.
Not happening. It's 2026 and there's no mass deportations. I could tell you things that would make you want to kill yourself, but I can't. I know people in the administration, and if you know, you know. Like, the mass deportations are over. The wall is over. It's all over. And it's not going to get better. Okay, like I said, how do you start arresting 3 times as many people after all of this? After the Democrats shut down the government and make ICE wear body cams? After we retreat from Minneapolis and fire Bovino? So it's not going to happen from now until the midterms. Is it going to happen after the midterms when Democrats control the purse strings? How would that even work? Of course, it doesn't even make any sense. So those 230,000 removals from 2025, that's as good as it's going to get. That is as good as it's going to get.
I'm glad he recognizes this, finally. I think that's the thing about Nick Fuentes. I think he knows. I think he's more based in reality than most other right-wing pundits. He's just coming from a starting point of psychosis. Like, black people are inferior, white people are superior, and white people deserve everything. That's his starting point. The starting point for conservatives is there's a deep state cabal who's trying to blah, 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 all the insane QAnon shit. So it's like he's more grounded in reality, just a darkly evil human being.
And you just buckle up and wait for them to try to foist JD Vance. If there's anything, hey, don't blackpill. If there's anything good that can come out of this, it is that JD Vance cannot be the president in 2028. Why would he be? Why should he be? If this administration is crashing and burning over Epstein, over Iran, over the failure to deliver deportations, well, guess who is number 2? JD Vance. So for all these people that are going to tell us, well, we got to elect him. He's the real deal. If he were the real deal, he'd be doing something now. You're the vice president of the United States. You want to have a shot in 28 for your sake, for the sake of the GOP? Where the fuck are you? You got 3 million Epstein files that haven't been released, 3 million that are still redacted.
Which, interestingly, by the way, Nick Fuentes is calling for the full release of all Epstein files.
You got no deportations. They just told Border Patrol, don't raid job sites with more than a few dozen employees. Where are you? You want Republicans to vote in the midterms? You want Republicans to vote for you in 2028? Hey, man, walk down the hall to the Oval and pound on the door and say, you're killing all of us. Trump is killing you. He's killing the GOP. He's killing all of us. We're all being dragged to hell by this administration, whether we support it or not. Republicans will be blamed. Vance will be blamed. I don't even support him. He shouldn't, if he can't get it done, he shouldn't even be considered in 28. But when a Democrat wins, we are all going to pay the price for this.
I'm glad he recognizes that. I've seen this coming for a while, and I'm glad that he can also see it now, that he is completely and totally
Incompetence.
Incompetence, okay.
And that is how I told you it would be during the election. People said I was crazy.
It's not incompetence, it was evil. The evil is what's so vile and disgusting and wrong. I honestly believe we're going to go as far as to reverse pardons. I know there's no mechanism in the Constitution to do that, but I believe that's probably going to happen. I will take that step. I think that might be a little far-fetched, but I think it might happen.
People said I was a Democrat plant. They said I was black pilling. I'm not black pilling. This is a clear pill. This is reality. I told you in 24, this is precisely how it would play out. And that's because that's how it played out in the first term. Exactly. To a letter. This is how it played out in the first term. So predictable. And people said it would be different. I mean, they actually thought it would be different. I don't know why they thought that, but they did. And they sold you on a lie. And now we are all in this together, you know? So that's your government shutdown. I mean, who really cares? They want to make the State of the Union a spectacle. Maybe they'll delay the State of the Union. They want to make their demands, show the base they're fighting for them. The Democrats do. This partial shutdown means nothing. But look, you only have 130 more days in this legislative session. Most of them between now and June. They come back for a little bit in the fall, but only for about 20, 25 days, I think. So this legislative session ends in June. This is going to shut down the government until what, March? So think about it. You're not going to get anything. No reconciliation package. You're not going to get any landmark legislation.
So the point is, this is the legislative session. If you don't know how this works, I know how it works because my wife works at American Atheists and is the one submitting bills. Like, she's the one putting through legislation. She's writing the bills. And she's working with the legislators, contacting them, getting them to sponsor the bills and things like that. And there are a lot of, apparently, Charlie Kirk-themed bills out there. Anyway, a lot of Charlie Kirk-themed bills. But, like, it's all nonsensical trash, all of it. Like, nothing that's actually going to get through and work. And on a federal level, Democrats are blocking progress for Republicans, which is good. They're running out of time. And this is their last legislative session before the midterms, basically, I believe. So they're all is the bottom line. Every last one of them. This is their last opportunity to get good legislation, and they lost it. They lost that opportunity. They are all
It's so bad, you just can't even make it up. Like, this is going to be an administration with no landmark legislation, no major bills, nothing. You got your big, beautiful bill, which is a monstrosity. They're not even going for budget reconciliation this year. Trump says we don't need it. Okay, I guess. They're not even going to try. They're going to shut down the government for another 2 weeks. Then you got 3 months left, and then you're done. Then it's cooked. Like I said, then it's impeachments, subpoenas, depositions, investigations. Trump might even be removed from office.
I doubt it, but there will certainly be impeachments jamming up everything.
When all is said and done, he might even be polled by his own people. That there is a non-zero chance. As a matter of fact, there's a good chance that's going to happen.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Fell for it again. Serves you right. You trusted the Jews. That's what this is. Trump was the
What a wild fucking thing to say, dude. Oh my God.
Jewish candidate, obviously. And people
Trump was the Jewish candidate.
That's what this is. Trump was the Jewish candidate, obviously. And people said that didn't matter because they're based Jews like Stephen Miller. He was the Jewish candidate. He was going to give them the West Bank, Gaza, Iran, Syria on a silver platter. And this is what you get. This is what you deserve. It serves you right. You trusted the Jews. You trusted this Jewish puppet. Now this is what you get. You get riots in Minneapolis again. You get illegal immigrants with an amnesty again. You get another war in the Middle East all over again. I mean, if only someone had said something, if only someone staked their entire career telling you, if you elect Trump, it's going to be a train wreck. It's going to be a disaster. Well, now here we are. So it's going to be rough, but that's...
Yes, it is.
That we're going to move on. We'll take a look at our super chats.
That was fascinating. I couldn't agree with Nick Fuentes more. You are all fucked. Every last one of you are fucked. Buckle up.
See what you guys have to say about all this. Not good, guys. Where's the counter argument? Where's the enthusiasm? Where's the plan trusters? Hey, plan trusters, just checking in. Are you winning? Are the plan trusters winning right now? How are we doing over there? And like I said, the next move is they're going to try to get us all to vote for J.D. Vance. That's the next chapter. Have you had your fill of this? Well, just get ready. They're going to try to make you do it all over again with Vance. Anyone that's against Vance is going to get utterly annihilated, me included. They're already doing it. They're destroying anybody that's against Vance so that this fat fucking piece of shit can lose. It's just, well, people get what they have coming, you know?
They do. They absolutely do.
People get what they deserve. No one's paying attention. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the truth.
And the truth, according to Nick Fuentes, is what exactly? White people are superior. Black people deserve to die. Hitler was cool and based, and I liked him a lot. Is that the truth, according to Nick Fuentes?
So now you get this. Now you get the little tech that you deserve. You get the J.D. Vance that you deserve. People, if you're stupid enough to buy into J.D. Vance, hey man, lots of luck. You're stupid enough to buy into this artifice they're foisting upon us, this Jew-controlled art.
The dude's just full of hate, is the bottom line, for no reason. If somebody says, sincerely from the black community, what did we do to you, Nick? He's just full of hate. He is a 4chan kid at the end of the day. Like, 13 years old, he was on 4chan. And that shit will rot your brain like nothing else. We used to say TV rots your brain. No, 4chan rots your brain. This is the product of this is what happens when people get on 4chan when they're children. If anybody wondered what happened to Nick, why he hates the black community so much, that's why.
Hey man, lots of luck. I'm really becoming like hands off. I had a conversation recently with Keith Woods, and I'm like, Keith, what are we going to do? I'm like, we're losing the narrative. These low IQ anti-Semites are being captured by the left and by Muslims. They're like against ICE now. I'm like, what are we going to do? Like this, and Keith is like, what do you mean? What are we going to do? He's like, it's just happening. And I was like, that's so true. Like, why do I feel like I'm in an A24 movie. What's that film studio? I feel like I'm in an A24 movie constantly. Hearts pounding, cortisol spiking, gesture maxing about...
Oh my God, he's doing the stupid fucking clavicular bit again.
Politics. We need to work in the midterms. We need to prevent... And it's like, why? Why? Here's the information. Okay, look, here's the truth. Here's what's going on. Here's the predictions. My record is untouchable. The information's out there. Take it. It's yours. You don't believe me? People go, well, you're the Fed. You're the fake, whatever. Okay, whatever. Kind of taking like a more hands-off approach.
Like, I find it interesting that he appears to be reading messages from his audience calling him a Fed, right? Is that what's happening here? I find it so interesting that his audience is not accepting this when this is something that I recognized before Mamdani was elected. I knew this was the case before Mamdani. Mamdani solidified it even more. I knew it by the Second King's protest. Second No King's protest. Because I'm used to citing the Bible, the Second King's protest. I knew this by the time the Second No King's protest came along, because there was sustained political engagement, and that does not happen unless a regime is about to flip. In history, like in world history, that shit doesn't happen like that, sustained political engagement, unless a regime is about to flip.
So that was kind of, that was a bit of an epiphany, you know? He goes, what do you mean, what are we going to do? He goes, that's just how things are going. So we have two different personalities. He's very like, hey man, just let life wash over you. Me,
That's generally how I am as well. Just let life wash over you. Like, you know, let the chips fall where they fall. And there's literally, if there's nothing you can do about a situation, don't stress about it. Like, your cortisol is spiking and all of that shit for no reason. If you can't control a situation, don't try. Let the chips fall where they fall and figure it out from there. That's just my way. I'm just a very relaxed, chill, relax-pilled, relax-maxing person, you know? And I just I don't think that there's any reason for... I wish that I could get through to people sometimes. Like, you know, we can't control this situation, so what can we control? We can't stop ICE from murdering people. So what can we do about it? We can get out there and we can protest, and we can write the names of people who are guilty in our diaries. Keep a diary, seriously. Diaries were so useful after World War II for piecing together what happened, what people knew, and which ones were guilty. That's what we can control. So control that. Control it. But don't freak out. You can only do your best. Don't worry about the rest, you know? That's the way I see it. Do your best. Don't worry about the rest.
He's kind of like the Joker in that way, you know, where he's like, all these rules, you know, he's like, and me, I'm trying to make it happen. I'm over here trying to fight the battle and, you know.
You should fight the battle. You should absolutely fight the battle. But don't let it bother you. Don't let it get to you. Do your best. Don't worry about the rest.
Oh, cortisol spiking, trying to get people to believe the right things. Now I'm kind of like, you know what? I fucking warned you people. What are you people going to do for me, huh? I fucking warned you people. I told you this is what was going to happen, and you all hated me for it. 2 years ago, you hated me for telling you this. Am I wrong? I was there. I remember. I was doing my show every night, trashing Trump and saying, don't vote, don't vote. This is a Jewish nightmare. Look at who's behind him. Follow the money. And you idiots said that I was a Democrat plant. You said that I was in the FBI. All this crap. I have terrible instincts, blah, blah, blah. All this kind of stuff. Oh, now I'm obviously vindicated. Everything that I was saying 2 years ago, now everybody's saying, and they...
He's right. He was correct about a lot of stuff. Because, again, he's not a nutcase. He's not propagandized. He just fucking hates black people. That's all. Like, Jack Posobiec genuinely, well, I don't know about him, but a lot of people genuinely believe that, I don't know, for example, the black community is genuinely getting more advantages than the white community, which is complete fucking delusion, obviously, for example. But Nick Fuentes, he knows black people are not getting more advantages than the white community. He knows that people are being mistreated and he wants more of it. That's the point.
Still think they're smarter than me. And it's like, you know what? You keep it. You keep your country.
Okay, I will. Isn't it fascinating to listen to this shithead say this stuff? You know what? Keep your country.
But you keep it. You keep your country. I warned you. I did my job. I did my job. I warned you. I told you this is what was going to happen. I didn't vote for this shit. So my message in 26, you could take it or leave it. Don't vote. Don't vote. Do not vote in the midterms. The Republicans have to lose. They have to lose. They have to crash and burn. A cleansing fire is the only thing that will save us. It cannot be fixed. Fuck them.
Okay, I love this message. I'm so down. I'm sorry. I'm going to grab this clip. This is good. Big fan. Love it, Nick. I love that. That's really good.
That's a message. I did my job. I warned you. I told you this is what was going to happen. I didn't vote for this shit.
He did vote for this shit. He can pretend he didn't vote for this shit all he wants, but it's not true. He absolutely did. He's trying to distance himself from it now because he knows how bad it looks. I'm sorry, you can't distance yourself from this. You did this.
So my message in 26, you could take it or leave it. Don't vote. Don't vote. Do not vote in the midterms. The Republicans have to lose. They have to lose. They have to crash and burn. A cleansing fire is the only thing that will save us. It cannot be fixed.
The message really is don't bother, because he knows that they're going to crash and burn. And see, somebody asked, like, who did he vote for? He says that he did not vote, but Trump would be preferable to him. And I don't have trouble believing that he didn't vote. But he does like stump for Republicans and particularly for Trump all the time. So it doesn't matter if he votes personally or not.
F them. F Trump, f MAGA, f all this stuff. It can't be fixed. If it could have been fixed, it would have been fixed in 2025, but it wasn't. They made every mistake. Liberation Day, disaster. DOGE, disaster. Big Beautiful Bill, disaster.
Sorry, every time I hear that, I think about that email from Epstein about Trump and Bill Clinton, and I always think about Big Beautiful Bill. It's so funny.
Epstein files, disaster. Iran, disaster. The personnel, Mike Waltz, disaster. Ratcliffe, disaster. Rubio, disaster. Pam Bondi, disaster. All self-inflicted. Trump personnel, Trump policy, Trump strategy, Trump.
They're all fucking idiots. Yes, that's true. They are all fucking morons. Every last one of them are idiots.
Playbook. We tried it your way. It didn't work. Fuck you. Now we don't vote. That's the message. Seriously. Can't blame anybody else. Bad advice, bad advisors, Biden's economy. Enough already. It didn't work. We're not voting. I'm staying home, and you know what? I hope the Democrats impeach him. I hope the Democrats impeach all of them. I hope they indict everybody. I hope they depose and compel the release of...
That's interesting. I'm going to pull this clip too.
Can't blame anybody else. Bad advice, bad advisors, Biden's economy. Enough already. It didn't work. We're not voting. I'm staying home, and you know what? I hope the Democrats impeach him. I hope the Democrats impeach all of them. I hope they indict everybody. I hope they depose and compel the release of documents, and I hope they find all the criminal behavior, and I hope it destroys the GOP.
You know what I hope? I hope that Donald Trump didn't have the FBI erase the video footage of him taking advantage of children, because I know he did. I mean, we all know that Donald Trump did that, right? And we already know this information about him, but I want the hard evidence to be out so it's undeniable. That's what I want. I want people to know what kind of person they supported through all of this. And I don't want them to be able to wiggle their way out of it ever again.
I hope it creates a crisis for the GOP so severe that they never recover.
It already has. They're not winning an election for a generation.
And then I hope we get a fucking Nazi to run in 28. And I mean that metaphorically. I don't mean that literally.
Obviously, he means it literally. Why would he even pretend otherwise?
I hope we get a fucking fascist to run in 28 to burn the GOP down as a dark horse and win the presidency as a right-wing radical. That is my hope. That is my playbook. That's what I want. I don't trust them anymore. They say, we just got to vote for Vance. No, shut up.
You trusted them once, you dumb son of a... You seriously trusted these evil motherfuckers? Nick Fuentes is an evil motherfucker too, so it's not like it's a far reach.
I'm not listening to you. The same people that brought you this garbage now want to sell you Vance. I'm not listening. You fucking people told me that Trump was going to deliver a golden age and mass deportations and $2 trillion in cuts and charter cities and all.
He's not that stupid. He knows that was never going to happen.
All this crap. You lied. It didn't happen. Now you're selling us on Vance? I don't think so. I'm not even listening anymore. I'm not voting. And they could say whatever they want. Say whatever you want. Try and squirm and struggle and flail around. I am not listening anymore. I am not voting. I am not reasonable anymore.
You weren't reasonable in the first place. Stop pretending that you were. You've always been a piece of shit, Nick Fuentes, and you know that. The mind-blowing part is that he's pretending that he was anything other than a Nazi all along. He's always been a Nazi. Self-avowed, Sieg-heiling, Hitler-loving, open Nazi. Don't pretend otherwise.
We all played that for the last, how many cycles? Were we the reasonable ones? Hold your nose and vote, lesser of two evils. We can't let the Democrats win. Okay, well, we let the Republicans win. Look at what that has profited us. I know it's profited Israel. I know it's profited Silicon Valley and Wall Street.
Oh yeah, he doesn't like Jews.
And the rich, what good is that doing us? What good is that doing any of us that live in cities like Chicago or New York or LA or even the red states for that matter? It's not doing us any good. Ken Griffin, Trump's boy, is down there in Miami, back in the Democrat mayor over there.
It has always been about hurting their political enemies for the Trump administration. And Nick Fuentes wants to not necessarily hurt Democrats or antagonize Democrats. He wants mass execution of immigrants. And that's not happening to his satisfaction.
I'm out. You lost me. I voted for Trump in 2016 because Trump was an outsider, because Trump was a disruptor. Trump was going to destroy the establishments of both parties. That's not what he is anymore. And that's not what Vance is either, by a long shot. We need something else. I don't care where it comes from. I don't care who it is. All options are on the table, other than voting for the GOP. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
That's not the definition of insanity, but okay.
Is that not what we have been doing? Republican in 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26. At what point do you say, let's try something else? We tried it that way. And I've had him come to me.
Like, did this not get you closer to what you wanted, though, in all seriousness? This is what Nick Fuentes wanted. He wanted complete fucking insanity. He wanted mass deportations and all of that. And this is the closest you're going to get to a Holocaust, which is what he's shooting for. Did Trump not get you closer to a Holocaust than you wanted? Like, I'm sorry, like, his rationale doesn't make any sense. His rationale is fucking evil, but it doesn't make any sense.
I've had certain people come to me and they say, you know, we can't burn the party down. That's not a good idea. That's good. It's going to take us forever to rebuild. You're not being reasonable. It's like, you figure it out. It's your job. I've been the for this party for the past 10.
Sorry, that's what Nick Fuentes does. He loves saying the N-word. That's just who he is. And that's why he's fucking worthless. Or one of the many reasons. But that's what you got to put up with for listening to Republicans talk, right?
10 years. You won't even let me in the front door. You won't let me in the back door. I have been the of the party.
Oh my God, dude. He's decided to be edgy for the sake of it because he's like that. He just enjoys it. The fuck is wrong with him?
Party for the past 10 years. People got nothing nice to say about me. I'm not invited to anything. I'm not allowed anywhere. All I get is condemned and disavowed, qualified praise. Well, he's a complete whore.
I'm thinking I'm going to jump forward because he seems to be in the N-word phase at this moment.
Horrible human being, but he could talk real good. And now they want to negotiate with me. Now they want to say, you got to get everybody on board. I won't do it. Miss me with that. And I am like all of you, in the sense that I am just another expendable young white man that they don't give a fuck about. They treat me like they would treat you. I am just another, I'm a precocious eccentric, but I am just another young white man from a suburb like LaGrange Park in Chicago. My vote doesn't matter. I'm in a blue state. My parents aren't from DC. They didn't go to William and Mary. They didn't go to Harvard. So we don't matter. We don't matter. Our sensibilities, our prospects for having a wife and kids, with the social climate, owning a home, with the economic climate, the job market, none of that actually matters to them. They don't care. If you say the wrong things, make the wrong jokes, have the wrong politics, they will destroy you.
Yeah, no fucking shit. Wow. I don't want Nazis in the political system, and that surprises you? Exactly why? You don't have... What? You come out as a Nazi, and now nobody wants to be your friend. No shit. Really?
You would no compunction. We are expendable. Our job is to shut the fuck up, pay the taxes, obey the laws, vote while we get raped by the people that purport to represent us. And I'm not playing that game, because that's really what it is. It's the white men that are the backbone of this society.
Okay.
If we acted like the black people, there'd be no society. If white people...
He's fucking disgusting, dude. Seriously. What is wrong with this person? He's just evil. Like, all of the shit that he says is bottom of the barrel fucking evil. Why is he like this? Like, why does he act like this? Why does he say this shit?
People acted like the black people, there'd be no society. There'd be no tax money. There'd be no budget. Forget that. White people acted like blacks. White people acted like Hispanics. We acted like these new Americans that are coming in over the border. There'd be no budget. There'd be no military. You wouldn't have an army. You wouldn't have an economy. You wouldn't have a stock market. We acted like them for 2 seconds. There'd be no country. So that's why our job is to shut up, do the work, pay the taxes, obey the laws, while everybody else is a free-for-all. Well, we are...
If Nick Fuentes is about a single thing, it's about stereotyping and reducing people to a two-dimensional stereotype of who they are. That's what he is all about. That's what he's always been all about. Black people contribute to the economy just like everybody else. Mexicans contribute to the economy just like everybody else in a lot of very productive ways. There isn't like a single group that is a drain or solely a drain on society like this. He just fucking hates black people, Jews, and anybody that's not white.
Systematically raped and dispossessed, and we vote for the privilege because we're gaslit by these minstrel shows.
Such a victim, right? He's such a victim. He's so mistreated all the time as a white man. This multimillionaire white man is such a victim. You gotta feel for him, huh?
By these white minstrel shows.
I mean, I'm just passing right over the deeply fucked up racist stuff that he's saying right now. But I don't want that to be lost.
To get us to turn out and vote for this policy. You get Jack Posobiec and the Blaze and all this other nonsense. Hey, everybody, vote Republican. It's gonna be based and red-pilled. No, I'll wait for the collapse. Yeah, at this point, I think
there's nothing that he can do to stop this collapse anyway. I think he's given up because, as we saw from the whole past, 45 minutes of him talking, they are f***ed. Republicans are f***ed. They have no chance of coming out the other side resembling anything like what they resemble right now. Not even close. Every last one of them are f***ed. And he knows that, and he wants to be on the winning side, so he's going to pretend that he's opposed to Republicans, when in reality, Republicans do obviously get him much closer to what he wants society to look like. So a reasonable person would vote Republican, would support the Republicans in his position. But he doesn't want to be seen to be a loser, so he's going to refuse.
I am an accelerationist, actually. I kind of just am. I don't love the label. I don't know if I'm ready to fully embrace it. But yeah, I'm kind of like, at this point, I have more confidence in everything falling apart than in Republicans helping us. In any way, doing anything. And if they don't like that, well, that's a them problem. They can change my mind. You want to change my mind? Fix it. You want to change my mind? I don't know. Deport some illegals. Do something. Until then, I'm done.
Like they haven't been deporting people en masse. It's fucking insane how he views the world. That's bound to be interesting.